Hello guys and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be going through a couple of tools in Python that you can use for penetration testing, but in like a more simple way because they're not complex, and I definitely recommend using Nmap for like port scanning instead of this port scanner because it's just more efficient and it's better. And I thought this Watchdogs wallpaper is appropriate. If you're wondering how I did this, you can use Wallpaper Engine. It's on Steam and you can import your custom GIF, and I just imported it. Well, so let's get started. First, let's start with port scanners. Right here we have a simple port scanner. Right, so we're going to get started with our socket. So we're going to import our socket and we're going to make a variable that is going to use the socket function, which is going to take two parameters. The first one being AF_INET and the second one being SOCKSTREAM. Now what we're doing here is just defining the type of connection we want to use to check the ports. You don't necessarily need to know what these mean, but if you're into pen testing you probably do. And right here we have a variable called server, and we're inputting right here the victim you want to scan without protocol. Now, of course, there should be an IP here. This should be an IP and not the domain, right? So keep that in mind. And then we have our z and our y, which is an integer of our input, which starts with a certain port. So let's say you want to scan a range of ports. You're going to enter 22 here to 25, let's say, which you're going to enter right here. And range to end with is, for example, 444, but the last port will not be scanned. Think one ahead. For some reason this does happen. Anyway, so here is our function, which we're going to call with this for loop. Now let me just explain the function. It's called pscan and it's accepting one argument, which is our port. Our port is going to be this one from our range z and y. And range z and y, as you can guess, is from 22 to 25, meaning this range is going to be from 22 to 25, and for each one of them there. So that's going to be 22, 23, 24, and, well, not 25 because we said the last will not be scanned. This is why you have to input 26 right here. So you're safe. If statement, which is checking each port, and then it's telling us that it's open if it's open, and else it's telling us it is closed. So how does this work? Well, it goes through this function right here, and if the function fails, we're going to get else. And if it goes through, in this case right here, and we're going to successfully connect to the server using this, so it's not a real connection actually. Right, but now of course this might give false positives as well, because it is not advanced or anything like that. It doesn't really know the systems, it just tries to connect to it. So any IDS can prevent it. You should probably use the Nmap module. And why should you use Nmap and not this? Well, because it's way more complex. You can do a lot more stuff a lot faster. Then next thing, oh yes, by the way, let me just show you this one. And this is the Nmaps example. Now, of course, you don't need all of these. These are just examples of the commands. You can just use it like this, or you can use the command line thing. And you can just run it with your command. Now, let's go to our IP getter. Now, this is not a hacking tool. It's just an IP checker. So we're starting off softly. So let me just connect to my VPN because I want to keep my privacy in check. There we go. Now I'm connected to a VPN, and we're going to edit with idle. I just wanted to show you how simple it is to get your IP. You do not actually need to open your browser or anything like that. All you have to do is import requests, and from them import get. And then you are making a variable IP, which gets this specific link, and then .text from that. This is just an API that's going to show you your IP. And then it's going to print out your IP is this. There we go. This is my IP. So obviously this is not my real IP. I'm running VPN right now, but I can actually make sure that you check that. And then we have our MD5 cracker, and right here we have our word list as well. As you can tell, word list is not complicated. We have SOM11 and framework and someone. We're going to try to decrypt framework. I put it in the middle because sometimes decryptors use the first password when they give false positives. And then let's edit our MD. So this is just a function. You can probably do it in a smarter way, and it imports hashlib. You need this module right here. And then we are defining our variable for the word list. You can use a custom word list, the one you made, just like I did. And then we're defining our hash to crack variable with our hash to crack, in this case this one right here. So what this program will do is it will convert a word to an MD5 hash. So right here we're writing the lines so we can read all the lines in our word list. And then we're making a for loop for a range from 0 to the length of the lines. In this case we have 3 lines, so this is going to be from 0 to 3. You can probably just do for I in this, but yes, I just did it like this. And then we have our hash to compute, which is going to be a hashlib.md5. This hashlib.md5 function will actually convert the things from our word list into MD5 and then compare that to the hash. If the word in hash is the same as our hash, that's our password, or that's our word in this case. And then we have, for each one of them, of course, we're going to replace the new line with nothing, because we don't want new lines here to confuse our decryptor. So we're using the I right here from our lines, I from here and lines from here. And then we're dot encoding it, and then we're using dot hex digest. And then right here, if our hash, which we're comparing, is the same one as our hash to compute, which is this one right here, after all the tries, we're going to print out password found and this specific hash. And if it's not, we're just going to print password not found and exit. Alright, let's attempt this right now. It's going to ask me for the word list, and I'm going to simply just feed it my word list right here. It is called md5 wordlist.txt. Let's copy that and paste it right here and press enter. Now it's going to ask me for the hash to crack, and we don't know what this hash means. I mean, we do, it means framework, but let's pretend that we don't. And we have framework in our word list. And if we press enter, it's going to check that. So as you can tell right here, it's framework, and let's see if it's going to find it. And it says password found, framework. And there we go. It killed it right away. You can probably remove this exit. And there you go, you found the password. Simple as that. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We have locators here. Now this is an interesting thing. I'm going to start with a locator by IP because we copied the IP that I'm using from the VPN. So we're going to import JSON right here because we need to read JSON files. And we're going to import requests because we want to get some requests. And we're going to import web browser. Now you don't need to do this obviously, but it just looks nicer. When I open the longitude and latitude of the location in the Google Maps, it looks cool, I guess. So right here we have our entry variable, which just asks you what IP you want to locate. And then we have our link, which is just getting JSON from some API. Now, of course, I'm using the %s. You can use f strings, of course. And then we have our getter, which gets the link. Obviously, I just called the getter for fun. It gets the link, and then we are getting the content of the link in this text version. And then we have our reader is JSON.loads this specific content, so JSON can understand it. That way we can refer to it like this. So how are we referring to JSON? I can make a new video about that, where I can explain how JSON actually works and how JSON with Python works. But all in all, you're going to get a JSON file. To access the country code, you need to load your reader right here that loaded your JSON text, and then write like this. Now sometimes you're going to have to use numbers as well in JSON. You know what, I'm just going to print the request as well, and I'm going to make a new line just so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. And there we go. We have our organization info, and then we have a longitude and a latitude. Now this is the fun part. We're going to use this later. And then we have our time zone and the city and the zip code. Good. Longitude and latitude are going to be our numbers, and we're going to place them right here in the Google link, which goes /maps/place and our latitude and longitude. If you place it this way, right here separated by a comma, and then go search that link right here in the browser, it's going to open your browser and it's going to open a certain location that you were looking for. In this case, you should open Italy because my VPN is actually running Italy. As you can tell right here, it says Italia. Let's run it. And it's going to say enter the IP you want to locate, and I'm obviously going to go to my Notepad++, and I'm going to just copy the IP and drop it in right there. So we're going to try to find ourselves. As you can see, we've got the request right here. Status is success, country is Italy. So it does seem to work. So this is what JSON looks like. Once we've dealt with that, this is the new line that I've separated. I've shown you before. This is this part. So once separated, it just looks like this. Country is Italy, ISP is this one, with organization information, longitude and latitude, and the time zone. And then it's telling me about the city and the zip code of this city. And then it's opening the link. Now let me just show you how this works. There we go. It's pointing me right to the IP. All the things that API said are shown right here, right now. This should be correct. If you compare this IP right now that we used to test this right here, you're going to see that it is actually correct. Now we're going to use the same IP, paste it right here to the location finder, and we're going to go IP lookup. But it's already there. There we go. So as you can tell, we got the same information right here. So it works pretty well, and it opens it right like this, which looks really cool. So let's continue. We have our locator by hostname. In this case, we're going to be using Facebook. Now we're doing the same things, and we're importing socket as well. We're using the website you want to locate, and then we're getting the get by hostname thing, which just gets the IP from our website. This is our user entry, and it's going to be, say, facebook.com, and this is going to get resolved by socket. And then it's doing the same thing with the API, and then it's opening the web browser as well. So let me just run this. I don't know why I closed it. And let's say the website you want to locate, www.facebook.com. And there we go, all the information has been gathered and our link has been opened. You can take a look right here, this is where Facebook is. I mean, apparently, it's probably a fake location because it does seem like a Catholic church. But that's Facebook. At least it shows this location right here. I don't think they're in the backyard of the church, but they're definitely somewhere here. Tracking IPs doesn't really show exact location always. Why? Well, because you have internet service providers that do not allow that. They just kind of concentrate all the connections into one point. For example, I live in a small town which connects right back to a bigger city, which is kind of confusing sometimes because tracking that IP leads you to a different city. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at what else do we have right here. We have a fuzzer. Now this is an interesting one. We have our fuzzer word list, which is just a couple of links that we want to check for the website. And we have our fuzzer. What is a fuzzer? It is a directory checker. It checks directories on the website. Okay, so let's take a look at the fuzzer. So how this is going to work is fuzzer is going to check for certain directories in a website and it's going to confirm if that directory exists. For example, an admin login page. In this case, we're going to use hackthis.co.uk and I'm going to show you these most often codes. 403 means the directory exists, but it's forbidden to access it. 404 means it's not working, there's nothing there, not found. And 200 means it works, and 500 is just an internal server error, which is also fun. So how does this work? Well, you enter the URL, you enter the extension, in this case this one, it's always this one, and then you enter the word list. And then this one right here, this variable right here reads the lines from the word list, and then for each in range of the word list, we're going to remove the new lines as well, and then we're going to get with requests our link, and then this slash, and then the word, and then the extension. Actually, I think I have a little bit of bug here, we don't need this. There we go, and then our link, and we're going to print this as well, so we're safe. And then if our status code is not 404, we're going to say there is our status code, this seems to work. So it is more simple than it seems. Let me just show you. So we're opening the website, we're going to use this one right here. And we're going to press enter, and we're going to enter the word list. In this case, it's called fuzzerwordlist.txt. Let's copy this, and let's enter it right here. And there we go, we're getting 404 and 404s. So this means none of these directories exist on this website. These right here do not seem to work. Okay, to just make it more clear to you, I just wanted to show you what we're actually testing against. This is the links we're testing against, and we're getting 404s because they don't exist. So the site is testing these links right here, and it is not finding anything. It is finding 404s. Now, of course, I don't have to print this, so I can just print R as well, and then you're going to see each one of them right here. And there you go, and it's going to give you the response for each and one of them. And as you can tell, there's none of them right here, so we didn't find any directories there. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We have emails and IP scrapers. These are made in regex. Okay, so the last thing we have right here is the simple scrapers. We're going to scrape emails and IPs from the websites using regex. You can probably use Beautiful Soup for this, but I decided to use regex because it can be more compatible with more sites. Because once you decide something in Beautiful Soup, you kind of have to stick with that. With regex, you can just try to find anything in the text of the website with the same sample every time. Okay, so let's first start off with the IP scraper because I actually have an IP list that I want to check. So let's run our module right here, pick a website that you want to use, and we're going to use this website right here because it is the list of proxies that we can use. And there you go, look at that. Beautiful. Gives you a lot of IPs. Detecting IPs reports, and it didn't find anything because this is experimental. It's using a certain format that might not find it. As you can see, the double dot is right here. And please don't mind the fireworks, and it's using 2 to 5 numbers right here. So now let's try the email scraper. So let's attempt to use someone's paste bin to find emails. Alright, it does seem to work. As you can tell, we're finding all the emails that we can get. And there is a lot of them, actually. I believe that these are fake emails, and they're just used on this account that I found on Pastebin literally when I googled. And as you can tell, sometimes this one cuts off stuff. It's going to use the same emails as before, and it's just going to use the .co, even though they're .com. But you can notice some of them are not .com, and they're .at, and stuff like that. And that will be all. If you want more videos on Python, you can just let me know, or on penetration testing. I can also make a video about Python and JSON and how to load that, or Python and XML. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.